Okay.
Well, the first thing that I'd like to do is welcome you on board our Boeing 737-800 flight experience aircraft, and we're here on the ground at Perth Airport. Sitting on our runway 03, we've got the domestic air terminal on the left, international on the right, and after these guys have taken off, we're going to take off to a left-hand circuit pattern around the city.
So we'll be taking off in a northeasterly direction.
Absolutely, we are at the moment, and then we'll do a big 180 to come back around. We're then going to line up, land the aircraft, and once we're on the ground, we'll apply full power and take off again. We call it a touch and go. So we'll do that here in Perth and get you used to the aircraft.
Are the engines running?
Absolutely, we've got power, we've got engines. What we'll do before we take off is make sure you're comfortable with all the controls and instruments. So starting with your feet, you've got those rudder pedals, of course. They're only used on the ground here to make sure that it still misses. We make sure of that. That makes sure your rudder pedals are used to keep us on the runway.
Yep.
Now, in this aircraft, we run the centre line down the centre of our aircraft. Feels a little bit strange.
I'll have to aim a little bit to the left of that.
Absolutely. I use the combing on our glare shield here. If you use that on your side, and essentially running the centre line straight down the middle of your right hand leg. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'll probably aim a little bit further to the left because I only see with one eye.
Yep, whatever makes you comfortable. As long as we hit the deck on the bitumen today, we're happy. Okay. Engineers don't like it when we get any grass in the wheel wells there. So looking on at our instruments in front of us, it's broken down into 4 main screens you'll be looking at today. On the left is the primary flight display. We've then got the navigation display and our upper and lower engine displays, and I've got a few of the same screens you've got. So on the primary flight display, left-hand side, where the little rectangular window that says 30 is, that's our airspeed. So that'll show how fast we're going today in knots. Roughly doubled is the number of kilometres we'll be doing per hour there.
All right.
Colourful instrument in the centre, that's our artificial horizon. You'd be quite used to those.
Yep. And the airspeed indicator.
Yes.
That's at the moment at 30 knots, or below, or is it supposed to multiply it by 100?
No, we're not moving at the moment.
Okay.
30 is the lowest number this aircraft will ever fly at. So instead of taking the ticker tape back to 0, they got a bit lazy, took it to 30 and left it there.
Okay.
Artificial horizon, when we take off, we're looking at 10 degrees nose up. Don't want to really go much more than that.
We'll be down here?
Just up the top.
Up in the blue?
Yeah, up in the blue.
Okay. Yep.
So when we're climbing that aircraft, we want to see more sky than we do ground.
Right.
And you know where the angle of bank is found on the artificial horizon?
Yeah.
Which is just up the top here. So
it's that one up there, okay. Yeah, I wondered what that was.
We'll go through that once we're up in the air. To the right, little window with a green rectangle in it that says 80. That's our altimeter. That's it.
Altimeter?
Yep, so of course showing our height above mean sea level. So here in Perth, we're already 80 feet above mean sea level.
That's in feet, is it?
Yes, it is.
Oh, okay.
And we'll be climbing up to 3,000 feet for our circuits.
I'll do that.
If you'd like to know what it is in metres, that little button there will pop up just above. So we're currently 20 metres above mean sea level.
Okay.
Comfortable with that instrument?
Yep.
Lovely. Onto our navigation display. Triangle in the centre represents our aircraft.
I've seen this once only.
Ah, okay.
That was last week.
It's a really good instrument to use. Really, really easy and very handy. We've got, of course, our compass rose around the outside. 0 north, 18 south.
Yep.
And that track's always shown at the top in that little rectangular box.
Right.
So this runway is on a track of 017 degrees magnetic. Just at the tip of the triangle, which is representing our aircraft, you'll see 2 little solid parallel white lines, one on the left, one on the right.
That's the radio compass.
Absolutely. That shows our runway out in front. So wherever we're flying, we'll never be lost from that runway.
Okay.
The runway centre line also extends forward and aft by a white dashed line. You'll see that when we start doing some turns, and that makes it really easy. We follow that to line our aircraft up and land.
Okay.
Comfortable with that one?
Yeah, for now.
For now, lovely. Upper and lower engine gauges. Today.
Why have we got upper and lower engines?
Because we've got high speed and low speed compressors.
Right.
In the jet engine and intake. So up the top here, this is the only screen that you need to worry about. I'll worry about our high speed or the lower engine gauges. These two gauges here are N1, and that's the low speed compressor. That's the fan blade you see in the front part of the jet engine.
Yep.
And what those gauges show is the percentage of power going to the engines. And we of course control this with our thrust levers. So if you'd like to place your hand on the thrust levers there. Now in regard to your aircraft that you fly on the computer, they'd be all piston engine aircraft.
Piston engine, yeah. There are some jets.
Okay.
Sabres.
And do you do much jet flying at all?
No, I don't.
Okay, so in a piston engine aircraft, when you apply power, you get instant result.
I took an F5 Fury, which is a later adaptation of a Sabre.
Yes.
Yesterday, yesterday, took it up for the day before, took it up for a fast circuit and landing, and at flying dead level, with elevators neutralised and combat flights, flat flap setting, it just flew beautiful at low speed, dead level.
Yeah.
And then
I don't know if we could do that in this one.
Put that in for a nearly perfect landing.
Lovely. Well, we're gonna do some perfect landings today.
Only a single engine jet.
Yeah, that's it. You've got two to worry about here.
Yep.
The thing with the jet engines is when you apply power, there's a lag in the engine spooling up or down. It's not instant power.
Yep.
So if you'd like to place your hand on the thrust levers there, what we're going to do is increase our power. So at the moment we're sitting here at 20%. You can see the indicator on the number 2.
Yep.
What we're going to do is increase our power to 60%, being the number 6 on those gauges. As you're increasing the levers forward, see the arc underneath?
Yep.
We line the hook of the arc up to the number 6. That's it. And there you can see the main bar coming in behind, which is the lag in the spool up of that jet engine. So the very important thing is that we always follow the arc underneath, not that main bar.
Okay.
So we can bring it back to 40%. Lovely. And all the way through to 20%.
Yeah, lucky I can see that. My eyes are a bit blurry today. That's why I'm not up in a real aircraft.
Now, the rest of the gauges I'll keep an eye on for you. It's just our exhaust gas temperature and fuel flow.
Copilot does that.
Absolutely. Fuel quantity on this side. And then down here's our high-speed compressor, the N2. It's the second set of fan blades of the jet engine.
High-speed compressor?
The N2 down here.
Oh, down there. I get it.
Yeah. So I'll keep an eye on all that. It's fuel flow, oil pressure, temperature, quantity, and of course the vibration monitors of those engines.
Now, Corinne and Jess both know that I can take off okay.
Yeah.
In the aircraft I have. But they also are well aware that my landings are atrocious.
Okay, well, we'll sort that out today. In regard to landing, very important landing gear over here. We operate pulling out, taking all the way up, and pulling out and all the way down.
Pull it out and up.
If you want to make sure that you can comfortably reach that, you can give it a cycle on the ground here if you'd like. Promise our wheels won't come up.
You promise?
Absolutely.
Because I've had this happen in my simulator.
Absolutely. No chance. We've got good pressure switches on our tyres.
Right.
Now, on the centre console here, a few things for us to go through. On the right-hand side, there's a flap lever and indicator. That's it. So there's flap here from stages 0 through to 40. If that's a little bit loose, we can tighten that headset for you a little.
No, it's not too bad.
Now, the flap is operated by lifting this lever up, and you can take any stage that you require.
Okay, well, 40's landing. We probably want them at about 25.
Well, for the moment, just looking at stages 1 and 15, we've got this little safety gate, and we can't go straight through. We have to drop the lever down and lift it either forward or aft.
Yep.
Today we'll be taking off with flap 5.
5.
And then when we come around for landing, we move through stages 15 and 30. 40 if it's a really tiny runway. So here in Perth we'll be using 30. Right. But if you'd like to give it a go, just familiarising yourself with that 15 gate. So it's like a V there. We've got to drop it down and lift it through.
We want 15. Well, no, use it.
We'll take off with 5.
That's combat flight setting. Roger that.
Top left-hand corner, there's the speed brake.
One.
Absolutely.
Baffle the plates, spoilers that come up in front of the.
Donuts.
They come up in front of the landing flaps on the upper side of the trailing.
Yeah, they're just on the top of the wing on this aircraft, and they're going to flip up when we come in and land on our second landing.
They're on the upside of the trailing edge.
Just to slow us down, that's the main aim of them.
Yep.
So on our second circuit, all we're going to do is arm it, which is just lifting this lever directly up and back just a couple of millimetres and dropping it down. It just sits where it says armed there.
Right.
And it doesn't lock in, it just sits there, because as soon as we touch down, it will automatically deploy for you.
Will it?
Absolutely. Flipping
if
up
my
those
hand's in the way, I'll
spoils.
get a bruise.
You will indeed.
Okay.
So if you'd like to have it feel, you can feel where it sits when it's armed, and then we'll pop it to the down position. That's it.
That's armed now.
A little bit further forward, you'll feel like a little...
Yep.
That's it. That's armed right there.
Okay, so we turn it off for now.
Absolutely.
Doesn't
Never fly
work
with it
or-
on, just in case. In conjunction with the speed brake, you'll be using the reverse thrust levers on the final landing today.
I've never had that.
Very, very easy. Once we're on the ground with our final landing, the speed brake will deploy. You'll have good control with your feet.
We'll have full flaps,
Absolutely, and you pull those reverse thrust levers straight up.
and that's when these engines start howling.
They sure do. They give a bit of power. You're more than welcome to try that on the ground there. You can pull it up, but you feel a detent.
Yep.
And then all the way up. That's it.
It's the hand dryer in the dunnies.
Now the last thing for me to show you before we take off is down here. It's our park brake. To take it off,
Oh, park brake, yeah.
very important. To take it off, we push it forward.
Yep.
To put it on, we pull it back.
Okay.
Just as easy as that.
Right, so we can increase throttle before we release the park brake.
We're going to release the park brake first in this thing.
Right, so it's chocks away.
Well, what we'll do is we'll talk through the takeoff first, a little
Right.
bit different to other aircraft. In a moment, I'll get a call from our tower first to say that we can take off.
We'll do that.
Once we're clear, we're going to increase our power just to 40%.
I do that in my game.
And they're just stable.
Take off clearance.
Yeah, absolutely. You've got to get your clearance, otherwise you'll never be allowed off the ground.
Yeah.
But we increased to 40% just to get the oil running through the engine, start everything stirring. Once stable, and I'll let you know when that is, we increase all the way to 100%. Once we're at 100, you're going to have your eyes out front and using your feet left and right to keep that centre line running down the centre of our aircraft. As we're going down, when I call V1, you're going to have V1, both hands on the control yoke.
Yep.
And then when I call rotate, you'll start to ease back, and we're looking for 10 degrees nose. This aircraft, with the amount of power we have for takeoff, as soon as we lift off, she wants to go straight up vertical.
Yep.
We don't like that, neither do the air hosties, so we've got to push forward there.
Yep.
Ready to give it a go?
Right.
Tower flight experience 556 is ready, runway 03.
60.
Flight experience
Not just yet.
6 cleared for takeoff.
Not just yet. We'll leave it at 40.
40.
Yeah, leave it at 40. Clear for takeoff, 556. Park brake off. And now increase straight to 100%.
We're moving. Oh no.
That's it, a little bit more. Keep that power set, eyes out front. And just using those feet now. Now the faster we go, the more sensitive those rudder pedals will become.
Oh shit, I was the wrong pedal.
That's
Right.
it. Push your right one all the way in and hold it there. So keep pushing right. That's it. Now start coming around to the left. Coming through V1, both hands on the control yoke and rotate. That's it. Looking for 10 degrees nose up. Got a nice positive rate of climb there. Let's get our landing gear all the way up.
Landing gear up.
And our power can come back to 80% for the climb out there. That's it, fantastic. Congratulations on your first takeoff in a 737.
Flaps.
We leave them at stage 5. Absolutely, we want to be nice and slow as we come around.
We're on combat flight setting. That's a good takeoff position.
Keeping the nose up at 10 degrees there. You can see we need to raise it just a little bit further. That's it. Fantastic. So we're climbing through 2,500. What we're going to do here
I'm just under 10%.
is start to lower the nose. What we're going to do is find that horizon outside, and we want that a third of the way up the windscreen for levelling our flight. And our power can come back now to 60%, and that'll help us to level the aircraft at 3,000. That's it. Fantastic. How are you finding those controls?
Yeah, fine.
Excellent. So what we're going to do here is a turn. We're going to turn to the left.
Are we still staying on 5 degree flat?
Yeah, absolutely. We keep that down for the whole flight.
Okay.
Need a little bit less power there. Bringing it back just to the 60% line. That's it. Now, on our navigation display, you'll see a pink dashed line swinging around to the left there.
One there.
That's it. That's our heading bug. I'm going to pop that on a heading of 197
I'm
degrees.
going to come round to 197 degrees.
We're going to start turning left, and the aim is to get that pink line all the way back up the top. So if you'd like to start rolling to the left. Now, of course, turning this aircraft, very different to turning a car around the corner. If we were to hold the turn locked in, the wing that goes up would flip us over and make us go onto our back, which we don't want. So we set a nice angle out the front there by turning. Once we've reached a good angle, we'll go back to the middle, let the aircraft stabilise. You can see the wings stay where they are, and we come around the corner quite nicely. The other thing is we're not a Red Bull aeroplane, unfortunately. We don't pivot on the point when we turn. We gain a lot of distance. So we like to turn at an angle of 25 degrees. And now at the moment we're doing about 5 degrees angle of bank. So we need an extra 20 degrees added to our turn there. So if you keep the turn going, I'll tell you when to go just back to neutral, and then I'll show you where you find that angle of bank. So we'll keep that turn coming. A little bit further. A little bit further. That's it. Back to neutral there. Fantastic. That's 25 degrees angle of bank. That's a standard rate turn for this aircraft. Doesn't feel like much when you're up the back of them.
I'll tell you what, I'm like, it's a head spinner.
Absolutely, up the front here. It's quite a steep angle.
It's like it is from what I remember flying in commercial airliners.
Yeah.
'Cause I've flown in the DC-6s,
Perfect.
Viscounts, very old ones. Now, where's compass? We're 90 degrees.
Absolutely. Coming around nicely. So, of course, when turning here, the other thing that happens is the nose wants to follow the wing that goes down.
Yep.
So we need a
we've gotta come up
little
a
bit
bit.
of back pressure, just a tiny bit.
Yep.
In the 737, people have the assumption that because it's a big aircraft, you need big movements. Very
No,
wrong.
That's wrong, yeah.
Tiny, tiny movements. It's millimetre by millimetre movements. The big thing is it takes a moment for the aircraft to figure out what
What's
we're
the
telling
beeping
it to do. That we're a bit high off of our set altitude.
A bit high. Okay.
That's it. Just relax
I'll
forward
just-
a couple
I'll
of millimetres. But the big thing here is anticipation. You always need to anticipate what
we're
you've
on the
got
level,
to
we're just
do.
banking now.
So coming up to our heading here, we need to anticipate rolling level by about 10 degrees. So as you come through 207, not just yet, not just yet, not just yet, keep that turn going. As you come through 207, we're going to start.
207.
Yep, 207. We're going to start rolling to the right to level those wings.
There
we go.
207. Yep.
That's it. Oh, excuse me. So you can see Perth City out in front there.
Yep.
Heading for Kings Park. Rottnest, as you mentioned before, over to the right.
Yeah.
We probably won't try and touch and go on Rottnest Island. We're a little bit too big for that airstrip.
I've actually tried to do this. Between Jandakot and up the coast, we turned right towards Rotto in this Cessna that I actually had a fly of, and my pilot mate took us up really high, so they had a good glide path down to Rotto
Yeah.
in case of engine
Over
failure.
ocean there, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
But the controls were very light, lighter than these, and it was a push-pull out of the dashboard.
What sort of...
It was a Cessna.
how many seats?
Well, there was pilot, co-pilot. There was at least 2 passengers. We could have had 3 or 4. So it was a fairly big one.
Oh, so it was a Cessna, would have been about a 210 or a 206.
This is in the 1970s.
Do you remember if the wheels went up and down?
No, I don't think they did.
Would have been a Cessna 206 if you could have 4 extra passengers.
Yep.
Nice aircraft to fly.
There's a group of us, and we all had hangovers. And my HQ Holden that I had was very heavy in the steering, so I wasn't prepared for
the
how
light.
light the control was.
Absolutely.
I took hold of it. He said, "Take hold of that, Frankie." And I took hold of it. He said to keep the altimeter there. And I just breathed on this, and it went forward, and the plane went. And he started laughing. You know, like here, take it back.
Take it back. Fair enough. No, I've got a Cessna 182, which is just a 4-seater aircraft, and
Right.
the control movement on that is very light.
Yeah.
Nice, sturdy
That
aircraft.
push-pull yoke.
Yes.
Yeah, it might have been that. It might have only been 2 passengers plus me, and the pilot. It was 4 people.
Yeah, 4 people.
It could have been a 172. He went through all his pre-flight checks, fuel
Absolutely.
contamination and everything.
Oh, very essential. Got to make sure there's no water in the fuel.
Yep.
Now, of course, what we're doing at the moment is we're coming down what we call downwind.
Yep, downwind leg.
Aircraft take off and land into wind. We're coming downwind. Our airport's on the left.
So
And we can
we're going to turn across base shortly.
Absolutely. You can see your runway just to the left of us on the navigation display. See the two little white lines with the green circle?
Oh, here.
That's
yeah.
our runway. And the dash line is the centre line, and that's what we're going to use to help us line up and land.
So I've virtually got to fly up to about here and then turn, up here, turn across base and then turn on the final approach.
Absolutely. We do one continuous turn.
Right.
And I'll show you a trick on the navigation display when it comes to
I had
turning.
to do that with the B-29. I couldn't turn from downwind across space and on the final in straight lines. I had to do it because it was very slow. Very
Absolutely. Got to do nice big curves. It makes it a lot easier.
Okay.
Now, landing a little bit different today. Gear and flap, of course, is what slows us down.
Yep.
We're going to do a turn, and I'll show you our navigation display on how to proceed with the turn. Then once you've got that runway out in front of us, remembering you're going to be lining it up with the combing of the glare shield, you focus on landing on the beginning of the runway, and in doing that, the nose comes down nicely and we've got somewhere to aim.
Yeah.
As you come over that point though, what you don't want to do is land on the nose wheel and wheelbarrow, very embarrassing. So you flare the aircraft, which is pulling back about an inch. We'll hold it all steady, power comes all the way back. She'll land on the back wheels, we push forward to get the nose down. Then remember to go straight onto the feet for direction.
Right.
We'll go 100% power and take back off again.
If I push on the left, the aircraft's going to yaw to the right.
No.
Yeah, it did on takeoff.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
If you push left, it'll go left.
Well, we'll find out.
Absolutely.
Because I remember feeling it was opposite to what I was expecting.
Okay, no, very simple. If you push left, aircraft will go to the left. If you push right,
But you said I needed to bring it back to the right, so I pushed on the right pedal,
yes.
and it went left a little, so I had to push the opposite way.
Okay, that shouldn't happen. That shouldn't be happening. That may be an actual fault we've got today. Now, let's start our turn.
Yeah, I'll get out there with me soldering on.
If you could have a look at that once we're on the ground.
Yeah, I will.
If you'd like to start rolling to the left here.
Rolling on a river.
That's it.
Well, there's our runway way down there now.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's very, very quick. The aircraft can get away from you.
Yeah.
Now, as you're turning there, see the three white dash curves coming out of our triangle there.
That's our turning arc.
Absolutely, that's our arc or our trend vector of what we're turning. To line up down the runway, you want to run that curve down the centre line. So if you turn steeper to the left.
So I got what?
So turn steeper to the left.
I was going to ask you, do you want me to turn steeper?
Absolutely, keep going.
Hang on, girls.
Keep going. Lots more. You want to pull that right
Pull the
through.
nose up a little.
That's it.
What's our altitude?
3,460.
Well, that's pretty hard to attempt a landing, and our speed would be increasing about now too.
It's just decreasing a little bit. We're at 227. Keep turning. Pull that vector all the way through. That's it. Go back to neutral. Just down on the left is Forestdale Lake. That's an inbound point for Jandakot Airport there. So we've got to look out for the little, as we call them in this industry, bug smashers. They're the tiny aircraft that fly around Jandakot Airport.
See my airstrip on there.
You will in a minute. All we're focusing on is the straight dash line, which is the centre line of the runway. And that's what we're using to help us line up.
The white dash line?
Yes.
Okay.
Just raise the nose a little bit there.
Sorry?
Raise the nose a little
bring
bit.
Up a little.
And turn a little bit tighter to the left. Really pull that curved line through. That's it. Perfect, looking good. Back to the middle.
There's the runway now.
You've got it.
It's either that or the freeway.
No, that's the runway. Definitely the runway. So not turning back just yet. Not just yet, got to wait by about 10 degrees. So keep going left. That's it. So your pink line's going to come up the top. So we've got our visual and also our navigation system to help us out with lining up.
Right.
There we go. We can start coming back now. Perfect.
Artificial horizon.
Still come more to the left.
One more to the left.
Absolutely.
Alright.
Not too much, that's it. So in this stage of flying now, it's all nice gentle manoeuvres with the controls.
We do what?
It's all nice and gentle. Being such a large aircraft, it's very sturdy. But we want to start to slow down. So let's get our landing gear down.
What's our speed?
So we're currently at 236. Landing gear can be extended at anything under 270 knots. That's it. And our flaps over here, we want them down at 15. Now when we put the flap down, the first thing the aircraft will do is start to raise a little bit because it increases lift and then drag. So always watching that nose.
Drop the throttle a little.
A little bit to the right. Now we'll leave our power set where it is because funnily enough our power controls our airspeed.
Yeah, it does.
In twin engine aircraft. Very different for single engine aircraft. There's our runway. Now you're aiming to land where those yellow lights are at the beginning. So we need to pull the nose up a little bit there. That's it. And now our flaps can come to 30 degrees. Tower Flight Experience 556 is entering final for touch and go, runway 03.
We're going to do touch and go.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Now we can bring our power back to 50%.
To which?
50.
So continue approach, report on final.
So down to 50%.
50%.
50%.
I'm on 60, so 50 is about there.
That's it. So it's that little white line.
Yep.
Flight Experience 556 is established on final for touch and go. That's it. Now watching the nose as you pull the power off, you can see the nose drops. So we raise it a little bit there. And now making a small turn to the right. So get the wings going, then straight back to the middle. Back to the middle, hold it there. And now to the left.
Go.
Turn left.
Now to the left, yeah. So we're getting nice and square on the runway. Keep going left. That's it, keep going. A little bit further. A little bit further. That's it. And now just to level the wings, we'll roll back to the right a little bit further. So the big thing here is we want nice level wings as we come in and land, otherwise we'll hit an engine.
Have I got to keep back pressure on the...
Very much so, very much so. If we let that nose go, the nose wheel will dig into the runway. A little bit further to the left there. Just nice and gentle. A little bit further. That's it. Even a little bit more. There we go. And now, a little to the right, level those wings. Keep coming, keep coming. A little more.
This is where I generally
A little bit
use the
more.
flap.
That's alright. Now raise the nose an inch and hold it there. That's it. A little bit further. Perfect. One hand on the thrust levers. Pull the power all the way back and hold the aircraft steady. Don't move the control yoke. There's our back wheels. Push the nose forward.
Didn't feel the back wheel of the main gear.
So you shouldn't have. That was a smooth landing. Now let's apply power to 100%.
Like 5% flaps.
We're going 15 for a touch and go. Excellent. Eyes out front. Now focus on the centre line. Let's get back on that using the feet. So pushing left pedal. That's it.
It does go left.
V1, both hands on control yoke. And rotate. Pulling back, we'll take off again. This control yoke.
Yep.
Pull back.
Yeah, we're going up.
Yeah, still got to pull back a bit more.
Do I?
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't like to climb too steep. It'll spill my coffee.
Got to go 10 degrees.
Oh, okay.
Positive rate, let's get that gear up. That one there. And now your flaps here can move to 5 degrees. And your power can come back to 80%. Well, if you're first landing in a 737, I don't know what all this talk about is. Well, I don't know what all the talk about is with your terrible landings. That was brilliant.
Never tried to do a Spitfire. Narrow track.
Do you think it might have had something to do with the move?
Not at all. Not at all.
Had you here guiding me through it, because I knew roughly what to expect. I didn't know what your speeds are.
Yeah, no, it's all about the speed and your configuration of the nose as you come over the runway threshold.
Well, the first few times I had successful practices on aircraft carrier landings in Seafires, I aim at 190 kilometre an hour with the arrestor, the trap speed
Mhm.
on the flight deck
Mhm.
on the arrestor cables. And that worked. But then I was able to work down from that to get it down to 130 kilometres an hour.
Yeah.
Which is the absolute minimum.
Yep. Well, our minimum at the moment, if we have a look at that, is 141 knots. So we want to be landing at 146 knots this time because we've lost a bit of fuel in that
I
circuit.
think in knots, because normally I think in kilometres an hour.
Everything in aviation is all knots and miles and feet.
I'm a truck driver, that's what I do, so I have to think in kilometres.
In kilometres. Now, as we've been gas bagging, we need to pull that power back to 60% and start a big left-hand turn.
Temperature will be rising.